Get ready with me while I rant about friendships. So let me ask you, is it wrong to cut off friendships that you are no longer aligned with? Let's say, things have changed for you. Maybe you're trying to change the trajectory that you're on life-wise. Maybe you no longer drink, maybe you no longer smoke, whatever it is. Let's say there's been some new changes in your life, right? And let's say you have friends that are still doing those old habits you've basically cut out from your life, right? Is it wrong to want to no longer be with those friends? This is something I'm actually going through, and this is as somebody who's a former people pleaser, as somebody who's had difficulty establishing boundaries with people before. This has been incredibly difficult, especially when they're great people. You know what I mean? Let's say these friends, there's nothing inherently wrong about them. It's just that their habits don't align with what you want to live your life as, right? Personally, guys, I don't think there's anything wrong with no longer wanting to be friends with somebody who doesn't align with you and your values and your morals and what's important to you. And let me tell you why. Every relationship that you have in your life, whether it's a familial relationship, a friendship, a romantic relationship, it should always be mutually beneficial, right? You have to get value out of that relationship, and that person has to get value out of the relationship with you. If one person is no longer receiving value, that relationship is out of equilibrium, and there begins problems. And this is why you no longer want to be friends with a certain group of people. And it's not to say there's something wrong with them or they're inherently bad. It's not that. It's just that you are no longer receiving value out of that relationship. And I know on the opposite end, a lot of people, especially the people who will complain that, sometimes people get money and they switch up or they change or whatever the case. I don't think... Yeah, people do change. That's the reality. That's the evolution of people in life in general. Yes, people change. I don't think it's a switch up. I think it's more so when you reach a new level, and it's not to say you're better than anyone else, but when you reach a particular level, you want to collaborate with other people on that same exact level. And it's nothing about looking down on somebody. It's just that you want to collaborate with like-minded people. And there's honestly nothing wrong with that. I really don't care what anybody says. It's okay to want to, and it goes back to getting value out of relationships. And it doesn't have to be a financial value. I have friends where my girlfriend, she cracks me up. I love to call her just to talk. You know what I mean? Whether it's about romantic issues or family or whatever it is, I get value of having somebody I can talk to, get advice, get feedback, and it just works. The relationship works. I would say I get emotional value out of that relationship. There's a lot of emotional value that I receive, so it's beneficial, and I give her emotional value as well. Some relationships will teach you, so it's like a knowledge-based value. And of course, you have to give value to that person as well. If that person is not receiving value, it doesn't have to be financial, but it has to be some kind of value, the relationship is going to be out of equilibrium. And so with that being said, I truly do not see an issue with, basically no longer wanting to be friends with somebody who, you feel like you've outgrown. There's nothing, it's life. There's this quote, I heard it from a past friend a long time ago, and it goes like, people are either with you for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. You're not meant to be friends forever with everybody. If you meet people through your life path at every stage of life, if you really held on to every single friendship, not to say you got to let go of all of them, but if you really held on to every single friendship, first of all, that would be overwhelming. And realistically, it wouldn't make sense. We evolve as humans, as people throughout our lifetime. That's what we do. That's who we are. At the end of the day, there's a physics things with this where like attracts like. It's the reality. And once you start changing, what is no longer like you starts to repel. And it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you're a switch up. At the end of the day, life is short. You have to be with people who inspire you, who are aligned with you, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, as far as how do you let go of these relationships? Because obviously that's difficult, right? How do you just tell a friend, like, you know what, I feel like I'm outgrowing this friendship, I don't want to be friends anymore. I'm gonna be honest, I would never personally be forthcoming in that sense. You know, and not everybody can take that. It's not like a romantic relationship, you know? It's not like we're seeing each other 24/7, especially as adults, and just how busy we are. You're not seeing your friends all the time anyways, unless you're in high school or you're in college. If you're an adult, you're living an adult life, more than likely you're seeing them sporadically or whatever. I say this to say, it's easier to just kind of let a friendship die out versus being so forthcoming and saying that I'm no longer interested in this friendship. Just in my experience. Because when you're so forthcoming, it's obviously gonna cause tension, and tension is the last thing you need. Especially if, again, there's no issues necessarily with the person, it's just you no longer feel aligned with that friendship, right? So maybe just being available less. When they ask to hang out, you're busy. The more busy you are when they ask to hang out, the less likely they're gonna keep asking, because they're gonna be like, well, this person's busy, whatever the case. And naturally, the friendship just dies out. Because in order for a friendship to keep going, there has to be effort on both ends, right? You can't just have one person reaching out all the time. Soon enough, it's just gonna naturally die out. I would say that's the best way. Now, you do have some people with very anxious attachment styles. I've had friends like that. I'm definitely the opposite of an anxious attachment person. I'm not avoidant, but I lean more on that end, right? And so there are some friends who are not just gonna let the relationship die out, and they may get confrontational and ask, what's going on? Why aren't we seeing each other? What did I do? Especially if this is somebody you're fairly close to. You know, associates, somebody you don't, speak with all the time, who's not a close friend, you can get away with letting the relationship die out. There are some relationships that you're close with that it may be a little bit more difficult to kind of just let it die out like that. Honestly, I think those are the exception. Those very close relationships, you can either slowly let it die out, just slowly, or you can have an honest conversation with that person and you can let them know what you're going through. You never know. Honestly, communicating, especially if it's a friendship you care about, this is for a friendship you care about and you kind of want to keep it going, but you just don't feel like you're aligned. You can let them know what path you're on and let them know, like, this is what I have going on. And hey, they may be inspired to change. They may be inspired to do better. No guarantees. And it's not necessarily a do better thing, but maybe be more aligned to what you're looking for from a friend, right? From that perspective. And I'd actually love to hear any suggestions you guys have, because this is something I'm personally going through as well. I found myself, it's just easier to do the whole slow ghosting. I'm a very non-confrontational person. I don't like confrontation. I don't like having to deal with the stickiness. I don't like things to end on a bad note. I've had plenty of friendships that I've kind of like just let it die out, and we're still cool. We still like each other's pictures on, social media. We still tell each other happy birthday on our birthdays, and we kind of leave it at that. And that's kind of what I'm more comfortable with. I'm comfortable having less friends, but with the few friends that I have, they are very valuable friendships to me. That's, as I get older, I'm not really a big fan of friend groups. I don't mind having a few friends and we have our one-on-one relationship versus having an actual friend group. You know what I mean? I think just the dynamics are a lot easier. But in any case, that's besides the point. The whole point of this video, the whole point that I'm talking about this in the first place is because I want to tell you and I want to assure you, because I needed this assurance myself and I couldn't find any videos on YouTube giving me the assurance that I needed. I'm giving you guys the assurance to know that it is completely okay to outgrow relationships. You are not the bad guy. You are not the bad guy for wanting people who are more aligned with whatever it is that you're looking for. That is okay. You have to get value out of the relationships that you have in your life. You know what I mean? Don't be a people pleaser. Don't stay in relationships you're not happy in, that you no longer want to be a part of. And I've done that. I've stayed in friendships that really didn't serve me, and I did it because I didn't want to hurt the other person's feelings. I did it because I realized this person really values their relationship with me, and I would feel terrible to just stop being friends with them, right? But that's not fair to you. What about what's important to you? You know, if you no longer want a friendship, why should you have to push through and continue a friendship that you no longer care to be a part of? That's completely not fair to you. Boop. So keep that in mind. In this life, you have to put yourself first. You have to. And it's not a selfish act. It's actually an act of love. You know why putting yourself is an act of love for other people and yourself? It's because if you're not putting yourself first, that means you're going to be mistreating yourself, right? And a lot of times when we mistreat ourselves, we're not always in the best state possible, right? And where you're not in the best state possible, mindset-wise, how in the world can you really be there for other people? Kind of like when you're on the plane and they tell you, if there's an emergency on the plane, they tell you when the oxygen mask comes down, you fix yourself before you fix your spouse or your kids, because you need to make sure you're able to breathe before you're able to help anyone else or fix anyone else. And this is the same thing, you know what I mean? If something is not fulfilling you and you feel like it's draining you, walk away. Walk away. You have to put yourself first at the end of the day. And if that person really cares about you, they would want the best for you. I always say that. And sometimes, you know what they say? If you love something, you let it go. Why? Because you want the best for that person at the end of the day. So let the person who claims that they love you let you go. That's the best way I can put it. And that's it. Listen, at the end of the day, think about it like this. If someone was no longer interested in being friends with you, wouldn't you want to know? Wouldn't you not want to stay in a relationship with somebody who doesn't really want to be with you? Of course not. You want to be with somebody who makes you feel wanted. So if anything, you're doing this relationship a disservice by continuing this relationship when you're no longer even interested in this relationship. I'm gonna leave you guys with this. This was my quick getting ready video. My hair is still not done, but I just wanted to leave you guys with this because, again, there's not much content online talking about just the importance of, letting go of friendships that no longer serve you. No need to feel guilty about it. No need to be harsh about it. The person's not a bad person because they're no longer aligned with you. You're just changing, and it happens. It's part of life. Learn to let go. And here's the reality. If you want friends that are more aligned with you, regardless of whatever it is that you're looking for out of a friendship, you won't be able to make those friends if you're still holding on to those old relationships that are no longer serving you. That's the reality, because you only have so much room, so much capacity, friendship-wise, relationship-wise. So you need to let go to make room for new, okay? So I'll leave you guys with this. Hope you have a blessed day. Thanks again for tuning in to Psyche Mastery. We make videos on just elevating your mind, becoming the best version of yourself. So if you like content like that, subscribe. Leave a comment as far as what you do or how you are able to walk away from friendships that no longer serve you. I'd actually love to hear your take. So thanks for watching. Bye.